If you struggle with patience, stick around to the end of the video. I'll show you how you just need a little bit of confidence that a better setup or your setup could be right around the corner, giving you the ease of sitting on your hands, knowing what you're looking for. So we had some people take longs here on stream this morning, catch that early pop of the New York Open, maybe in line with the 15-minute bias. I don't love trading that early on, but caps off to anyone that made money in that quick little pop there. Now the first sign of seller would be the clear break back below New York VWAP, and it rips for a new low a day. At that point, we hadn't even broken outside the opening range. I'm not sure if I am bullish or bearish at this point, so we just let that thing go. The other play would be, I guess, trading into news, right? We had 10 a.m. news here, and if you chase that short, mid-bar or at the open of that news candle, it really goes 1 minute. So you could make money. I'm not suggesting you trade news, but if you're looking for this follow-through, it was 1 minute down, and the rest of that 15-minute candle was just straight back up. Now, I'm not saying the shorts are dead by that point, but at that point, we're very overextended for me to want to just jump in at the bottom now. We're not off a key level, but maybe the shorts are in. That's where I also like to use the 15-minute, which I'll pop open here on the left side. Let's throw on our daily VWAP from the changeover of day, and we'll turn that black. And you can see the pin that we left to the downside after that push down here, right? Because it was 1 minute down at 10 o'clock, but in the next 14 minutes, we're just straight back up. So I don't love this pin that it left on the 15-minute left side here. Trying to sell it back into that because it just told me sellers struggled down there, just like they did pre-market down here. So I don't love trading into that, but we are below the daily VWAP. And we can look at NQ real quick, I guess, while we're on the topic of it. And you'll see how I use both assets just on the left side here. If I turn on that daily VWAP, you'll see it's actually not looking bearish at all, as that pin is through the daily and actually closed back above, and it's been above its daily VWAP. So it's still looking long bias over there. So that's going to make me hesitate on any shorts over here on ES, but especially when the next play would be to look for a pullback to see if sellers can keep this control, right? So let's just get back to the 1 minute here. And the play that I would teach you in Futures 2.0 is just wait for a pullback to a key level and a break of lower day VWAP, right? So if you turn on that lower day VWAP, we'll make that purple so you can see it different from the New York in black. You can see sellers never step back in. We had a potential retest and bounce off this New York VWAP, right? But rather than predicting that it's going to bounce, give it some minutes and some time to hold that New York VWAP, show you that it's maybe slowing around there and rejecting it so that it is a hold. Otherwise, this thing just blasted right through the New York. There was no seller stepping in. So hopefully no one just predicted the bounce off New York, although it would have been a great price, right? It would have been a great price if it folded over there, but it didn't fold over. And it didn't give you any signs of folding over or sellers defending it. So I think just a little bit of patience saying, I think we want to hold this. This would be a great place to sell it, but let me see if sellers step in and defend this VWAP. On top of that, yes, the next step would be the bounce play, followed by the break play of this lower day VWAP. And you can see we don't get that either. Now, I made plenty of videos about this probably a couple weeks ago now, where it turns into almost that danger zone of, well, it's been an hour and a half and we're back inside this 15-minute opening range. So if it's in this red zone, the first 15 minutes of the day, I don't want any part of it, right? Because you just get chopped up. It's very slow. Yes, it's slowly crawling its way higher, but damn, that took some time. So I think there is definitely money to be made on it on this day, but there's better opportunities later on in the afternoon. So we don't necessarily need this money, but the bounce off New York here, making that higher low and the pop for a new high is quite nice. And another thing we can look at real quick, if we go over here to Edgeful, you could see if we go to the initial balance report. So we were talking about this on stream a little bit this morning, that the odds that we just stay stuck in this range, you could see 3% of the time. 4 out of the last 126 days has it just never broken the initial balance. So we know we're probably going to get out of this zone at some point. So although it's moving very slow inside of here, we have to have the confidence that's probably going to get up there at some point. So let's go try to go get that level. And it eventually went and got it at that point. We can even look back at the Edgeful report back here too. And once it breaks one side, it's very heavily favored that it only breaks that one side, right? So 73% of the time in the past 6 months, it just breaks one side and does not break the other. So being that we just took out the top there, all right, well now I'm leaning more shorts for or more longs for sure, because the 15-minute, we're back above that daily view up, right? Let me pop that up to remind you. At this point up here, we're clearly at a new high a day. We just respected this daily view up here at that first pop. Things are definitely looking bullish. So I definitely think you could have maybe warranted a long inside this range there. I just don't need it. You let it make a new high a day. So now this is not my trade. This is just a beautiful trade. I guess we're on the minis. Let's go to the micros because I have my trade marked up still. It's the same thing. break for a new high day. Give me new information. Get out of this red zone that I had drawn, right? New high a day, not chasing up there, right? That's the move. We missed that train. Let me see if we can pull back. I'll try to catch the next train, the next move back into bullish trend. Maybe got in a little soon. It's a very tiny pullback, but it's the first break of initial balance, small break, second break of initial balance high, and it's also a break of high a day VWAP, saying buyers are back in control. Now, fortunately, I survived this trade, right? Because we go to the 15-minute, I'll show you a little bit of reasoning on why I'm putting the stop loss definitely not at current structure. All the videos I put in my course on ASFX TV that I'm mentioning, the Futures 2.0, stop loss at current structure right here, these pins right there, is the most dangerous because it's just so obvious that anyone that longs it here probably has a stop here at the bottom, right? So it's probably likely that it's going to get swept and then it moves higher without you. So you definitely want to give it some more space. And I don't want to go necessarily way down there at that structure particularly. Maybe that would have been a safe play, but I don't think I need to be that conservative on this day. So I'm just working off of 15-minute candles. I'm longing it up here on the 15-minute. I'll zoom it in. I just simply went with the stop loss at the bottom of it, right? So if you extend that back to the 9 points that I had, it's just down here below that previous 15-minute bullish bar. If that gets retraced, then maybe we're coming all the way back down to this daily VWAP. I could look to buy it back again. So that's the reason for the stop loss placement. Unfortunately, I was able to hold through that with some patience and saying I'm not wrong until really way down here, right? Because ideally, well, not ideally, but realistically, it could even come down to New York and still end higher. So I really can't hate my longs no matter how much drawdown it's in. It makes its way out. I get out for a new high a day. Now on this, right, I always preach that the bigger the pullback, the better. And it is true because it's just more sustained. You get a better idea of structure, that there's another high day break over here after the deeper pullback. So maybe now that's your stop loss placement because you've seen the bigger pullback come in, right? But for this one, that was like 10 minutes. No way is this stop loss safe on that tiny little pullback. But if it's after a big one, then I could definitely say, yeah, maybe we'll go with current structure right there, right? Maybe a pin back there. Or even this one, obviously that's the one that pays nicely. Zero drawdown, buyers are in, boom, new high a day. But what is it? It's all the same price. It's just all about timing. This one was the one that was clearly ready to go, but I bought it at that same price just 40 minutes early. But I can't know that that's going to be early because if that rips higher from there, I'd want to be in it. So just play your idea out, play a good price level off of a key level, give yourself a good stop loss to give a chance to hold through, and you should be able to make money more times than not if the trend continues, right? This was all dependent on if trend continued, clearly, because it's a breakout strategy for a new high a day. Now let's go back to the minis here. What after my trade that I just showed you, it's followed by this trade over here. We're on the micros. Where are the minis? So that's followed by this new high a day when I got out of my trade, pulls back again, and this is where I'm talking about that deeper pullback. This was like 40 minutes, maybe even longer. 45 minutes, buyers took a break. There's no breaks of this high day view up telling you to get in again. So if you just let it fully pull back, respect that IB high again, right? The same level I bought it at earlier. Clearly respecting this level, still building higher lows. And then buyers are in on the high day view up break. There's your entry signal. And again, you probably would survive this, but don't go stop loss right at current structure because this pin's probably going to scare you. So just give it some room below previous structure back here. And you could still well get over 1R because buyers are back in control. They go continue that trend. So hopefully you guys made money on this, and I just made a video about it, as I do all the time, of my favorite VWAP, which is the New York. We're above New York VWAP. We're clearly making higher highs and higher lows at this point. I know I want to be a buyer. I just like to wait for the next trade after a nice, deep, sustainable pullback, right? Notice how this is about 40 minutes, and then a pop higher. Another 40 minutes, buyers step back in, right? Even over here, 30 minutes, 20 minutes, and then a nice rip higher, right? So if it could be longer without high day breaks, in my mind, that's even better because now buyers are more likely to step back in because sellers are really not moving us much lower here. They're just stalling. But then once buyers are back in, look how quickly we move up. But the main lesson on this was even just zone it off. If it's back inside this range hours later, just leave it alone. And then notice how where I'm buying it, it's outside the open range high. Outside the open range high. This entry over here, it's outside of that red zone. It's safe to go. It's good to go. We're trending. We're outside of these levels. We're making new highs. Let me go ahead and ride this bullish trend. And another thing of just not getting chopped up in this early going, all right? When we rewind it to this, especially that one bearish candle there, where is this going on the day? I have no idea. We had a nice bullish pop. then sank for the next hour, and then right back up all the way. Are we coming back down to New York? It's very confusing. So there's no clear edge on my strategy part for this type of price action with the New York VWAP going up and down and back inside the range. Leave it alone. I don't need to know what's going to happen in the next 20 minutes. Give me more information. As we crawl higher, all right, those buyers are sustaining the higher lows. We're above New York VWAP. Let me see if I can get a pullback to a key level. Oh, we're close. Oh, there's a retest to New York. So now if I long it, I can at least get a stop loss well below, and then you find your trade, right? Or those later opportunities we went over. So there's plenty of opportunities, and all I need to do is be extra patient because I'm trading on my top 1 accounts, which are on Copier with the Project X platform. So I'm really trying to be super picky because my trades are going to 3 accounts. I don't need to spread the risk all over the place throughout the day. Pick my spot on a break with clear trend, and it gets copied to all 3. I could compound those gains in those accounts pretty quickly like I did in the past the last time I was copy trading. So if you guys found value in it and are also trading these high day breaks once the trend is set in and clear, and you could really just try to take advantage of it, but there's no trend to really take advantage on here. We could all guess and use our probabilities of where it wants to end up, but there's really no more guessing, I'd say, at this point. Once it breaks for a new high outside the range, it's very clear that we're only buying it. Now we just revert back to, well, where do I normally want to buy it? And you can just act on that, right? Rather than being confused or pulled in both directions, just wait for it to be one-sided. And then you guys know how to ride that trend because I made plenty of videos about it. I teach the whole strategy here on AceFX TV. This is the VWAP break, what I was trading today. But you can even just go to all the chapters and you'll see there's the VWAP bounce play that we went over in the beginning of the video, all the key levels, all that good stuff. So if you're not a member, definitely sign up for that. You can even start a free trial and then join us on streams the rest of the week where we take these trades every morning, every day, live on stream. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure you follow these rules. Let's have a great month ahead of us. Slow wins the race. Lots of days ahead of us. So stick to your rules. Drop a like, leave a comment. I'll see you guys on the charts tomorrow morning.